time at its birthplace, the Avro factory airfield at Yeadon, which is now Leeds Bradford Airport. It's going to spend some time at Breeton, the home of the real aeroplane company, and it's going to display again at the Shuttleworth collection at Old Warden in a fortnight's time. It's great this aircraft is in Europe. It is just superb.
And I love the family history. This was Roy Chadwick, of course, who would later go on to design the Lancaster and, play a huge hand in the Vulcan as well.
And this, again, a really important aeroplane from the pen of Chadwick and colleagues that, as you say, can tend to go forgotten. Now, for those of you down at the right-hand end of the airfield, as the Chinook takes off, there's a juxtaposition. The early war RAF again, the Anston taxi factory parking spot, another aircraft so representative of that early war period Andy was just referring to, taxiing out beyond. And just as with the sound
celebrates 45 years of continuous service with the Royal Air Force. Joining us for this display is Ted Coningsby, everyone's favourite air-aware bear, who is live streaming today. So join us on the socials for his second CH-47 Royal Demonstration flight. Today we're proud to work with Joint Helicopter Support Squadron, JHSS, who stand ready to deploy anywhere in the world to support UK helicopter operations. Also joining the team this year is 7 Power Royal Horse Artillery. As part of the Army's 16 Air Assault Brigade, 7 Power provide elite air mobile artillery support to the UK's paratrooper capability. You can now see the Chinook Mark 6 Alpha approaching from crowd left. Underslung beneath the aircraft is a 105mm L118 light gun and a Pinzgauer gun tractor, occupying 2 of the aircraft's 3 external cargo hooks. With a combined weight of 5 tons, this constitutes less than half of the aircraft's maximum payload, which can comprise a variety of configurations, including ISO containers, armoured vehicles, or even every aircraft in the Army Air Corps display team. At the controls today is Royal Demo Captain Matt Whirl, better known as Whirly to his friends, both of whom are here today. In the co-pilot seat is Flight Lieutenant Sam Soroya. Sam joined 18 Squadron in 2023 and has since honed his flying skills around the world. Sam is a full mission qualified Chinook captain, but will need to marshal all his skill as he helps Whirly take the aircraft to its limits today. Taking command of the aircraft's positioning as they approach the landing site is Sergeant Stretch Armstrong. With prior career stints as a reservist in the RAF regiment and as an air operations officer, Stretch couldn't resist the call of flying, joining 18 Squadron as a qualified crewman in 2023. The crew must balance speed with smooth handling to get the gun safely and accurately into position. Operating the Chinook efficiently requires all 4 members of the crew to work together seamlessly as the rear crew marshal the aircraft precisely and efficiently into position over the intercom. This process requires trust, skill, and years of experience to perfect, as well as the ability to count backwards from 10, a high-function skill for a Chinook crewman. With the external loads now gone, the crew land on to release an internally loaded support equipment. On top of its impressive external loading capability, the Chinook's tandem rotor design gives it a large internal loading area. The Chinook's cabin can carry side-by-side buggies, Land Rovers, or even rigid inflatable boats, dispatched from out of sight and sound range to support Royal Marine and Special Boat Service raids. When speed is paramount, smaller vehicles like quad bikes, motorcycles, or even e-bikes can be off the ramp and on task in mere seconds. Internal loads must be securely restrained for the harshest manoeuvring at low altitudes, so releasing them quickly is an important skill for a Chinook crewman, enabling the aircraft to get away from the landing site and safely back on the move quickly. Having supplied the gun team with ammunition, our 7 Power quad bike will head to the crowd line to resupply you with some roll demo stash. Unload complete, Whirly clears the landing site with a max performance takeoff, building speed as quickly as possible to minimise the threat of enemy fire. The Chinook's 2 powerful Honeywell engines and tandem rotor design enable it to climb or accelerate very quickly to a maximum speed of 160 knots or 185 miles per hour. He stays low to avoid detection by enemy sensors and to make it harder for conventional weapons to take an accurate shot at the aircraft. With the aircraft clear of the landing site, the 7-para team rapidly de-rigged the gun and Pinzgauer in preparation for firing. Out to the left now, Worley will reposition the aircraft with a wing over. Chinook must be flown dynamically and aggressively very close to the ground, so mastering coordinated maneuvers like this is vital to developing the skills required to maintain control of the aircraft in a threat environment. Now let's hear some blade slap with a 360-degree flat turn. The agility and power of the Chinook make it a real pleasure to fly and enable it to perform well in high temperature or high altitude conditions and to carry heavier protective kit. Prepared for combat, Chinook boasts a layer of ballistic armour up to the windows, a rear-facing M60 machine gun and a pair of M134 miniguns for broadside protection. Now Worley brings those weapons to bear in a dog-bone profile. As the starboard gun reaches the end of its weapons arc, he brings the M60 on the ramp to bear on the target. Now a right turn to bring the miniguns back onto target. Getting the aircraft turned around quickly here is crucial. Every second out of arcs gives the enemy time to take stock and take aim. And Worley races to get the port minigun on target, unleashing 3,000 rounds per minute from its rotating barrels with a sound almost as iconic as the Chinook itself. As the port minigun runs out of its arcs, the M60 is put back on target. A veteran of the Vietnam War, the M60 makes up for its slower rate of fire with solid dependability. Now fully established on their firing point, the 7-para gun team will execute their fire mission. Battlefield, a gun battery has as little as 3 minutes to complete their mission and escape before enemy counter-battery fire can be brought to bear on them. Their ability to launch an attack rapidly and with deadly accuracy is what makes 7-para lethal, survivable and ready for the modern battlefield. Once complete, they'll hook the gun to the Pinzgauer and egress the threat area molto pronto. Meanwhile, Worley extends to crown right for another wing over to reposition the aircraft for the next manoeuvre, but not before checking the crew and aircraft for injuries or battle damage. Chinook is a remarkably resilient aircraft, able to defeat a range of heat-seeking missile threats with a multi-layered missile warning system and a cocktail of advanced flares. When the aircraft is hit, it's proven well able to soak up serious damage, including direct hits from rocket-propelled grenades. Now the crew approaches from crowd right for a nose-down quick stop, bringing the aircraft to a halt from cruising speed in just a few seconds with the helicopter equivalent of a handbrake turn. Worley pulls back on the stick to commence deceleration before flicking the aircraft around the nose, presenting the flat side of the fuselage to the airflow and slowing the aircraft much more quickly. Cameras at the ready to meet our #1 crewman, Sergeant Cammy Torrance, who's going to be waving the famous orange hands today. Cammy joined the RAF in 2019 and after 4 years of flying training arrived on 18 Squadron in 2024. In just a year, Cammy has already qualified to fly the Chinook from the harsh heat of the desert to the unforgiving cold of the Arctic Circle and has already deployed on operations in the Middle East. An impressive achievement for a man with such impractically large hands. Please share the love and give Cammy a big wave. For better or for worse, he can see you. As the #1 crewman at the rear of the aircraft, Cammy is responsible for defending the tail with the M60, monitoring of aircraft mechanical systems, maintaining lookout for enemy forces and marshalling of external loads. as well as ensuring cargo, troops or casualties in the cabin are effectively secured and ready for their next event. During an air assault, Camis are the first boots on the ground in the combat area as he leaves the ramp to direct the assault force onto target, ensuring they have the situational awareness required to seize the initiative. In Afghanistan, Chinook crewmen were regularly the first target Taliban militants would see on the ground, and their bravery contributed to mission success on numerous occasions. As a Hibernian football club fan, Cami has already proven his bravery in the face of a determined and well-armed enemy. Excellent preparation for the modern battlefield. Now Whirly pulls to maximum power for the Gorney climb. A manoeuvre first seen in the Bosnia conflict, it has no tactical application at all, but was used to show off the awesome power of the Chinook to crews of other helicopter types. All of those aircraft are sadly now out of service, but the mighty Chinook continues to get the job done. Having climbed safely, if flamboyantly, out of the range of small arms fire, Whirly will bring the aircraft back down to crowd centre with a tactical descent. In low-tech threat environments, aircraft are safest either at high altitudes or down very low to the ground, where they're harder to see or to shoot at. Transitioning from high to low is a moment of maximum danger and must be flown as quickly as possible without overstressing the rotor system. Whirly manoeuvres the aircraft in the descent to make himself a more difficult target. For real, this would involve numerous changes of direction at high angles of bank and can be a handful to control in hot or high conditions. Safely back at low level, Whirly prepares to reposition the aircraft once more for a running landing. Supporting Chinook operations, both at airshows and at war, is an expert cadre of RAF engineers, who work day and night to keep these workforces on task and on target, tackling everything from routine servicing to patching up battle damage, and even conducting major repairs under enemy fire and in extreme environmental conditions. Chinook engineers are highly skilled and ready for anything. If the aircraft loses an engine to battle damage, Chinook has the performance to maintain flight and escape the threat area on the one remaining engine. But slowing the aircraft down to a hover requires a lot of power, so crews train to land on the aft wheels at speed like a fixed-wing aeroplane, conserving energy to get the aircraft safely onto the ground when engine output is limited. Whirly conserves airspeed for as long as he can, flaring the aircraft to cushion it onto the ground at a maximum speed of 60 knots or 70 miles per hour. Safely on the runway, Whirly uses the unique aerodynamic qualities of the Chinook to balance on its aft wheels. This technique can also be used to land on steep slopes or ledges where the rear of the aircraft is landed while the front of the aircraft is still in flight. And now for another Chinook party trick, the reverse taxi and takeoff. A useful capability when space for parking is tight or when the aircraft's downwash threatens nearby vehicles or equipment. But mostly, we like to do it because we can. Much like reversing a car, the aircraft gets increasingly twitchy as speed builds, so smooth, calm handling is required to do this safely and efficiently. Ladies and gentlemen, to complete the 2026 Chinook roll demonstration, Whirly brings the aircraft up to crowd centre for a goodbye bow. He's been absolutely thrilled to show off the aircraft for you today, as have all of us from the Chinook Force, JHSS and 7 Power. Now he prepares to transition over the shoulder to depart, and to finish the display programme for this year's Cosford Airshow.